dogs have blocks. You can grab your blocks, or if you don't have blocks, you can use like hands or pillows. But we're going to come down into Supta So that is our butterfly pose. So soles of the feet together. I like to use blocks right underneath my thighs just to give my thighs some support. And then we're going to take that yoni mudra, which is really a downward facing triangle, and place it right on our lower belly. So really right in our womb space. And a mudra is a hand gesture that really helps us to evoke a particular consciousness. And this mudra is a very grounding mudra. So you can just get comfortable, start to sink in. And I'm going to ask that everyone put themselves on. Okay, so we're in our Supta So we're just going to take this time to arrive. So tonight we're going to be connecting with the goddess Aphrodite. So she is the Greek goddess of love, beauty, and sex. Now, even though she was one of the most beautiful goddesses, it wasn't just her looks that were so captivating. It was her energy. It was her way of life that everyone found so compelling. So she was really considered an alchemical goddess because she made gods, goddesses, mortals feel beautiful just by being around her. And you have that power too. And it's really that energetic. And so much of this work, if you're on a personal growth or spiritual development path, is all about raising our energy. It's having a high vibration. And we do that by feeling good. So how great is that? We can raise our energy, we can have a high vibration, we can magnetize good things our way just by feeling good. So I really want you to be thinking of that energetic tonight as you are practicing yoga. So really only doing things that feel good, not pushing yourself, and really imagining that you are Aphrodite. So they say the way that we can start to connect as a goddess is we imagine that we are like the goddess. We become the goddess. So one way we can start to do that is I want you to just take some time as we are here arriving and consider a pleasurable experience. Now, this pleasurable experience can be one that you have had in the past, or maybe it's one that you can imagine, one that you would like to have. So with your eyes closed, with your hands gently pushing into your lower belly, take a moment now and remember or imagine something pleasurable. You could be making love, going for a swim, taking a bath. But something that feels good for your body and something that you experience through the senses. Maybe it's tasting some chocolate or viewing a beautiful sunset. So much of connecting and embodying with the divine feminine is really experiencing the world through our senses. And when we start to connect with the goddess, whether it's Aphrodite or another goddess, we start to source our power from within. So what does that mean? It means that we're not looking for others to give us the experience of pleasure, but we can create that on our own. Hey, Angela, it looks like you keep coming unmuted. There we go. And so you can come back to this feeling throughout. And this feeling of pleasure, again, this raises our energy, both our energy as in we have energy to get the things that we want to get done in life, and we have high vibration energy. That means we're radiant, we're magnetizing. And with the sense of this pleasurable experience in your mind, take a moment and set an intention for your practice. Maybe it's how you would like to feel. Maybe it's something you want to manifest. And then if you you have some blocks, you can gently move them aside. We're going to come into some butterfly flap. So we're still in Supta Baddha Konasana here. And I want you to, on an inhale, slowly bring your knees up. So soles of the feet will touch your mat. And then on an exhale, we're going to slowly bring our knees back down. Inhale up. And then exhale, coming right back down. You can take some more at your own pace, but we're going slowly and we're matching movement to breath. You might notice that your legs are starting to shake a little, and that's okay. You're just tapping into those tiny muscles that you don't always get a chance to use. So just starting to wake up the hips. And again, bringing the knees up slowly on the inhale. And then back down on the exhale. We'll just take a couple more. My legs are shaking too. And throughout our practice, I'm going to ask you to come back to what it is that you imagined, that experience of pleasure and joy. And see if you can start to cultivate that feeling as if it's actually happening. Bring your knees back up. Bring your feet about hips width apart. You can spread your arms wide, anchoring you to the earth. And then just lightly drop your knees to the left. Maybe you gaze to the right. And then coming to the other side. Knees drop to the right. You gaze to the left. You're bringing the knees back up. You can give the knees a hug in. We're just going to gently take some little circles in one direction so you can start to massage the sacrum. That's the lower part of your back. You can take the knees in one direction and then again in the other. And coming back to center, you can grab behind your thighs. We're going to start to rock. You take a few rocks, just rocking up and down, massaging out the spine. Rocking all the way up. You can place the hands on your mat. We'll make our way into tabletop. So in tabletop, hips are over knees, shoulders are over wrist. You're going to get the hands pressed really firmly into the earth, getting them nice and flat. We're going to come into some cat-cows here. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. And then exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. Inhale, drop the belly, look up, that's your cow. And then exhale, arch the spine, drop the head, that's your cat. Then you can take some more at your own pace. And as you do this, maybe you keep your eyes closed. You turn inward, checking back in with your body. But I also want you to take any other movements that would feel good to you right now. So maybe it's some big hip circles going in one direction. And then in the other. Just doing anything that would feel good. So maybe it's even just wagging your booty, dropping your head. Sometimes it can feel nice to turn out the hands so they're coming out to the side, or maybe even facing the knees if that feels okay, stretching out the forearms. You can take little circles on your wrist. But tuning in with your body and just seeing what it needs, what would feel good. Then we'll meet back in our tabletop. place the weight into your right hand. That left hand is going to reach high, and then we're going to thread the needle on the left. So that left arm goes right underneath the right shoulder. You're on the left side of your face. That right hand can come to the upper right of the mat, or just maybe you wrap behind you. But it's almost like the feeling of like you're going to roll over on your head. And breathing here. This is a shoulder stretch. So being gentle, especially if you have any shoulder or neck pain, again, really using your discretion, using your discernment, choosing poses that would feel good to you. Right hand comes back down, left hand reaches high, left hand comes back down to the earth. We'll take it to the other side now. Right hand reaches, we twist to the right, and then we'll go right underneath that left shoulder. Left hand can come to the upper left corner, or maybe it wraps around you. And breathing here. Again, the shoulder stretch can feel really nice. We'll bring the left hand back towards our face. Lift back up, right hand comes high, right hand comes back down to the earth. Now you're going to leave the hips right above the knees as you walk the hands forward, coming into your puppy pose. So it's almost like a child's pose, but your hips still stay up. You can either place your chin or your forehead on the earth. And breathing here. So this is a chest opener. So you can almost imagine that your chest is dropping down to the earth. And taking a few deep breaths here. And keeping your forearms pressed to the earth, shimmy the body back. We'll come into Sphinx. So Sphinx, shoulders are over elbows, forearms press into the earth. So you almost look like a little kid watching TV on the living room floor, but it's really much more active than that. It's the forearms are pressing into the earth, and you can imagine the elbows are coming back towards the ribs, chest is opening, it's going through the shoulders, and gaze is straight ahead. And breathing here. So feeling that nice stretch on the back. This is a back bend. And then you can come back down to the earth. You can rest your cheek on one side, let the arms go long. So this is a nice gentle neck stretch. And then the other side. So turn to the opposite cheek. And bring the forehead down to the mat. Bring the hands right underneath the shoulders so the elbows are facing the sky. On an inhale, we're going to come up into a cobra. So again, another back bend. Gaze straight ahead. And then come back down to the earth. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, coming back down. 1 more time. Inhale to rise, holding it here. And then coming back down to the earth. You can push up into your tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the hips, and we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, your hands are pressed firmly into your mat. Your heels are lifted, but keep a little bit of a bend in the knees, because that's going to feel much better on your back. We don't need to have straight legs in the downward facing dog. Really think of lengthening the spine. And the head hangs right between the biceps. And you can take any movements that feel good, whether it's pedaling up the feet, feeling that nice stretch on the calves or the hamstrings. Maybe you drop the knee down, twist to the right, stretching out the side body. again, keeping connected with what feels good, what your body needs. And your body likes to move. And unfortunately, with many of us, and I'm one of them, we spend a lot of time in front of the computer. So almost giving this gift to your body, what would feel good, how does it want to move, what does it need? And you can go high on the tiptoes, bend the knees to lengthen, walk to the front of your mat. And we'll meet in our ragdoll forward fold. So feet are going to be hips width apart, opposite hand to opposite elbow. Now bend the knees quite a bit here and just let the head hang heavy. So this is less of a hamstring stretch and just more of an opportunity to lengthen the spine. So you can even like rest the belly on the bent knees and just let the head fall. Sometimes we want to like hold the head up or looking at the earth. If anything, you should be looking at the wall behind you, just dropping the head, letting gravity bring you down. And breathing here. Maybe you rock a little from side to side. And bring the hands to the earth. With the feet rooted into the earth, we're going to roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, kind of like a yoga zombie. But while we do that, I want you to give your body a little bit of a massage. Now, don't worry, no one can see you, I can't see you. But as you start to roll up, just give your body a little bit of a massage, massaging the legs. Maybe you massage the belly, the breast, the arms, the neck, the head. You reach all the way up to the sky. With your right hand, you can grab your left wrist, stretch high to the sky, feet root into the earth. We'll take a side bend to the right, stretching out the left side of the body. So we're making that moon shape with our body. Coming back up, you can take that opposite wrist with the opposite hand. Take a moment, inhale to lengthen, and we'll take a side bend to the left, stretching out the right side. And coming back to center, we'll take goddess arms. Inhale, look up, opening up the chest, the heart space, the throat. And then on exhale, hands will come right through heart center and we'll slowly come down to our forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. You're going to bring your shoulder blades back. We're creating that flat back. Then you can plant the hands, step the left foot back, drop the left knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky for your low lunge. And breathing here. Gaze is straight ahead. Again, trying to find some ease in these postures. Think about we do this work, like the yoga, the asana, the practice, because it helps to create clarity. It helps to build our radiance. So as we move our body, we're also moving those things that no longer serve us. We're starting to better focus our body and mind and spirit. We're coming into the present moment. You can plant the left hand on the earth. We're going to twist to the right. So we've got a low lunge twist. You can take a big backstroke with the right arm. So just going all the way around, almost like you're going to draw a circle on the wall. The right hand is going to come back to the earth. Now, if you have blocks, you could use them here. We're just going to come into a very gentle half split. So I have my blocks the tallest way. That front leg is extended. We don't have to go deep, just hinging at the hip so you feel a light hamstring stretch right along the right leg. I'm just breathing here. So even though Aphrodite was married to Hephaestus, the skilled worker, she had many lovers, most notably Ares, the god of war, but also Adonis, whom she shared with Persephone. And Aphrodite really marched to the beat of her own drum. She wasn't a martyr, she prioritized her pleasure. That is what made her so captivating, so magnetizing. Even take a moment here while we're stretching and consider some of the things that you want to do. Where can you prioritize more of your pleasure? If you have blocks, you can move them aside. We'll walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under. So we're in a runner's lunge. And of course, you can still use blocks in the runner's lunge if you want to bring the earth a little bit closer to you. And then left foot will step to meet the right, forward fold. We'll gently roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, doing that body rub, the body massage. Okay, doing what feels good. Maybe give those shoulders a massage, the neck. Hands come high to the sky. Keep the hips squared forward. We'll take a high twist to the right. So opening the arms wide. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, high twist to the left. Rising back up. Goddess arms, opening up the heart, the throat. And then hands come through heart center, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine, shoulder blades come back, creating that flat back. Plant the hands, and this time we'll step that right foot back. Drop the right knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky, low lunge. Breathing here. So you can drop right into that front knee. We're stretching out the hip flexors. We're really opening up, activating our sacral chakra. That's svadhisthana. And that is the energy center that's really responsible for our ability to receive pleasure, ability to play, have fun. Maybe one of the mantras you work with throughout this practice is, I deserve to feel good. I have the right to pleasure. Right hand comes down to the earth, and we'll twist to the left. And take a big back stroke with the left arm coming all the way around. The left hand can come back to the earth. We'll straighten out that front leg coming into our half split. You can use the blocks here. And again, we're not trying to overstretch. We're just trying to find a light stretch here. Breathing here. Really consider, how does that mantra feel? I have the right to experience pleasure. I have the right to feel good. I have the right to express my creativity. Move the blocks aside, walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under, coming back to that runner's lunge. Right foot comes to meet the left, forward fold. Root down, we'll start to rise up to standing, giving our body that body massage. Hands come high, and then hands come right back to heart center. And bringing to mind that pleasurable experience that you cultivated, that you conjured right at the beginning of the practice. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Plant the hands. We're going to step back to our high plank. Now, high plank, shoulders over wrist, core is engaged, hips might be slightly lifted. Now, you can come to your knees if you'd like. You're still building strength. We'll take a few breaths here. And come all the way down to the earth via low push-up. So whether you're on your knees or the hips are lifted, we'll come down to the earth, low push-up. Inhale, pushing up through cobra. Exhale, coming back down. You can press up through tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the hips, and we're back, downward facing dog. And breathing here. Again, taking any movements, micro adjustments that feel good. One of the things that I really love about yoga is it really requires us to to turn inward, to reconnect with our body, consider how we're feeling, and choose moves and postures and shapes that are going to help us feel better. And breathing in. And then right leg will come high, three-legged dog on the right. So hips and chest are still square to the earth, but that back heel is lifted. So almost imagining that line of energy all the way from the palms to that back heel. You can bend the knee here. You open up the hip towards that right wall. You can take some ankle rotations in one direction, and then again in the other. Square the hips back to the earth. We'll step that right foot forward, coming right between the hands. Dial the back foot back, so it's at about 45 degrees, and we rise up, warrior one. And if it takes a couple of steps for you to get into your warrior one, that is fine. Remember, make this your practice. So in warrior one, both feet are planted firmly on the earth, hips are squared forward, hands come high. Breathing here. Finding some ease in this posture. You can bring hands to heart center and then open up warrior two. Now, warrior two is a wider stance than warrior one, so you can widen out your stance. Arms are going to be parallel to the earth, and gaze is straight ahead, right at that middle finger. And if you find yourself feeling kind of serious right now, bring the corners of your mouth up into a smile and see how that affects your energy. Isn't it interesting? It's like these little things that we forget sometimes, and it's like, smile and you instantly feel better. You can take an inhale, straighten that front leg, gentle warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale to rise. Exhale, coming back down. One more time. Inhale to rise. And then exhale, coming right back down. Now, as we're opening up the hips and really focusing on the sacral chakra here, I really think that's a Aphrodite-like chakra. It's all about creativity, sexuality, sensuality, playfulness. You can almost imagine this orange ball of energy right in your second chakra, right at that pelvic bowl. And the element associated with that chakra is water. So really think about creating that fluidity, whatever that means to you. On an inhale, we'll reverse your warrior. So we still got those warrior two legs. And then on an exhale, right forearm to right thigh, side angle. Maybe you kick that back heel back a little bit. Left hand can be right above your head. Maybe it reaches forward, pinky finger down. Or if you have a half bind in your practice, half or full, you could wrap it around. But whatever you are doing, whatever variation of side angle that you choose, it's supporting your breath, and it's also keeping your chest open. So you can imagine that the chest is corkscrewing to the sky, and you remember to breathe. And maybe you even smile. Maybe that should be part of this whole practice, is being able to smile throughout. We're going to come back up to our warrior two. Hold it here. This is where it starts to get a little tough. You're like, all right, warrior two isn't that pleasurable anymore. And yeah, that's part of yoga too. And it's kind of interesting for it to become aware. Sometimes if we've been doing yoga, warrior two feels really good when we first get into it because we've got both feet on the earth, solid and stable. But yeah, you stay in it long enough and you want to get out of that too. And most things are like that, right? Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse your warrior, and then straighten that front leg. Toe heel that back foot up a little bit. We're going to come into our triangle. So this is a shorter stance. You can even drop that back heel back. And arms are parallel. You can reach forward like you're trying to reach over a counter to grab a glass of water or something. I don't know why you'd be reaching like that, but you can imagine. And then right hand can come to the shin or block, hips stack open as you rotate the torso to the left. And breathing here. Now, if it feels okay on your neck, you can gaze at your hand. If not, just gaze at the wall. And then core strength will lift you right back up. You're going to pivot to the left. Toes will come out to 10 and 2. We'll come into our goddess pose. So toes are out to 10 and 2. We've got these goddess arms. Shoulders are stacked over hips. Feeling rooted and powerful. See if you can drop those hips a little bit lower. In these postures, like warrior 2, goddess pose, these are power poses. We're taking up space. We're building our confidence. We're recognizing our right to be here. And then an inhale, straighten. You can lift up. Exhale, coming back down. Do that 4 more times. Inhale to lift. Exhale, back down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, return. Inhale up. Exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale up. And then exhale down. You can sway a little bit back and forth. Maybe you close your eyes, turn inward a bit. We'll pivot to the front of the mat, coming back into our warrior 2. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, hand dwindle back down to the earth. You can step back to your high plank. We'll come halfway down, low push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog, so shoulders over wrist. You're on the shoelace side of your feet. Gaze straight ahead. You can inhale here, and then on the exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Maybe take a deep inhale, you can sigh it out. You're all on mute. You could make noises, anything that comes to mind, anything that would feel good. Left leg comes high, 3-legged dog on the left. Hips and chest squared to the earth. Thinking of the geometry, the symmetry of your body. You can bend the left knee, open up the left hip. You can rotate the ankle in one direction, and then again in the other. Square the hips, back to the earth. And then left foot will step forward right between the hands. Back foot dials back. Rise up. Warrior 1. So in warrior 1, hips are squared forward. Now if it feels challenging to get your hips to square forward, you can widen your stance. So it's more like train tracks than a tightrope. Now, you women stay there. I'm just going to turn to face the other direction. So when we get into our next set, you don't need to look at the back of me. But we are all in our warrior 1 on the left. You can bring your hands to heart center. Open up. Warrior 2. Shoulders stacked over hips. Arms are parallel. Gaze is straight ahead. Right above the middle finger. Corners of the mouth are turned up into a smile. I heard something, I hope I'm saying it correctly at one point. What's the difference between a warrior and a soldier? A soldier fights for money, a warrior fights for love. I think that's the way it goes. It kind of sounds like that, right? Breathing here. You can inhale, straighten that front leg, hands come high, gentle warrior. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale to rise. Exhales, come back down. 1 more time. Inhale to rise. And then exhale will come right back down. So we're going to keep these warrior 2 legs. These warrior 2 legs, they're here. They're grounded. They're rooted. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Stretch out the left side of the body. And then left forearm to left thigh, side angle. You drop that right heel back, maybe widen the stance ever so slightly. And we'll be here for a few breaths. So just thinking about what variation of side angle you would like to take. If you want to keep that hand straight above, reach it forward, or maybe you wrap it behind. But again, whatever you do, the chest stays open and the breath still flows with ease. And you still smile. And breathing here. Maybe just take note of your energy. Noticing how it feels, maybe compared to the beginning of class before you started moving. We're moving prana, that's your life force. We're going to talk a little bit more after our practice. If you can stay on, I'd love to talk a little bit more about how we can use the technology of yoga to really become the best versions of ourselves, to start clearing away some of the clutter so we have clarity, so we have radiance. Keep those warrior two legs, rise up, warrior two. Hold it here. I know this is the tough part. I used to have a yoga teacher that would say, the yoga pose does not begin until you want it to end. And I know you were like, but this was supposed to be pleasurable and playful. Yes, and pretend it is. Reverse your warrior, and then straighten that front leg. Toe heel the back foot up a little bit. It does become pleasurable once you get used to it, I promise. We'll come into our triangle now. So arms are parallel, reaching forward, left hand to a shin or block, hips open to the right. We breathe there. Well, I'm definitely working up a little bit of a sweat. It could be because it's like 95 degrees here, but it still feels good. Core strength brings you right back up. We'll pivot to the right. So we're going to come into 5-pointed star. Toes are slightly pointing in, slightly pigeon-toed. So we're going to do an ab exercise. I don't really know what they're called. They're like X's. So you're going to take an inhale here. Exhale, right hand to left ankle. Rise up on the inhale. Exhale, left hand to right ankle. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Using the core here. So we're not just reaching down with a curved spine. The back stays flat. Really kind of thinking of leading with the navel. Matching your inhales and exhales with movements. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. One more on each side. And then exhaling down. And then we stay up. You can bring your hands to hips. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, bend the knees. I'm going to turn to the side. We're going to come into a forward fold, but we want to do so with a flat back. So really bend the knees here, so it's almost like your butt is in one direction, sacrum is in the other, and we're really at that flat spine. Take a moment just to lengthen the spine. Now you may just want to stay here, but if you want to start going into your forward fold, you can start to straighten the legs, hinge at the hips, let the head hang heavy. Now, the reason we start with a flat spine, because it's not just about trying to get your head to the earth, we're trying to keep a long spine. It's more about getting your hips up in the air than your head down to the earth. And breathing here. Maybe you take a look at the wall behind you. Just I think sometimes when we look at things upside down, it just gives us a fresh perspective. It just can be interesting. And you can bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. We're going to get up the same way we got down. So bend the knees, lengthen the spine, creating that flat back. Hands can come to your hips as you straighten your legs and your back up to standing. Pivot to the left so you're back at the front of your mat, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, hands are going to windmill back down to the earth. Step back to your high plank. Halfway down, we'll push up. Upward facing dog. and then downward facing dog. Then you can bring your knees down to the earth. Open the knees wide, sit back on the heels, coming into your child's pose. Third eye connects with the earth. Hands can be pressed to the earth. Just getting that sense of feeling held and supported. Maybe you move your head left and right, massaging the third eye. Just taking some time to come down to relax. And lift your head up a little bit, walk the hands over to the right, then coming back down, stretching out the left side of your body. Lift the head up, walk the hands over to the left, stretching out the right side. Hands come back to center. And you can make your way into tabletop. Cross the ankles and find your way back onto your back. So we'll come into our back. So this is constructive rest, it's called, with feet about hips width apart, knees to the sky. You can see if you can graze your heels with your fingertips. You press the backs of your arms right into the earth, the triceps. And we're going to come into some dynamic bridges. So what that means is we're going to lift the hips up on an inhale, and then on an exhale, slowly bring them back down. Feet root into the earth, hips lift on the inhale, exhale, coming back down. And take some more at your own pace. Now, the next time your hips are lifted, you can keep them up. Keep them lifted. You can keep the backs of the arms pressing into the earth. If you have more shoulder mobility, you might want to interlace the hands, shimmy the shoulder blades underneath the shoulder, becomes a chest opener as well. Breathe in here. And then bringing the hips back down to the earth. Bring the feet wide to the edges of the mat. Let the knees knock in. This is knock knee pose. This is just really nice for destabilizing the spine after doing some back bends. You can bring soles of the feet together, knees open wide, Supta Padasana. One hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. So just like we started this practice, maybe noticing if anything has shifted, if anything has opened for you. And then I want you to take a moment and consider something good that had happened recently. Even if it seems like one thing after another has been going wrong, see if you can find something good, something that you would want to share. And the reason it's important that we do this is because as humans, we have a negativity bias. And that means we hold on, we remember the bad stuff much more than the good, and it tends to have a much stronger impact on us. But when we can take time to really recognize the good that's in our lives, one, we can start to rewire our brain so we see more good, but we also start to raise our energy. Again, when our energy is raised, when we act with like clarity and joy, we attract more good our way. So again, bring your mind to something good that happened recently. bring your knees together. Hug your knees in. Maybe rock a little side to side, massaging out the spine. You can bring the arms wide, anchoring you to the earth, or they could be goddess arms. Now gently drop the knees to the left as you gaze to the right. And it's more important here that your upper body stays intact with the earth. So if your knees or your legs don't get all the way down to the earth, that's okay. You put some blocks or a pillow if you have something near you. And then switching sides, knees can drop to the right as you gaze to the left. And coming back to center, give your knees one more hug in. And as you're hugging them in, take a moment and consider something or someone you are grateful for and why you are grateful for them. You can release your legs, bring them long on the earth. Palms are going to face the sky. And start to feel the body melt into the earth. And come into a final resting posture, Shavasana. You can start to wiggle your toes, your fingers, bring a little bit of consciousness back. You rub your feet and hands together. And gently make your way over to your left or right side, whatever's more comfortable. Spend another moment or so just in the fetal position. So eyes still closed, head still heavy. You can start to make your way up to a comfortable seat. And if you have a cushion, you can get a cushion. You could also do, we're going to move into our breathing practice and our meditation. You can do that in a chair as well. As I mentioned, we really went through more of a vinyasa flow, but now we're going to come into a Kundalini breath practice and a meditation. The breath practice we are going to do is breath of fire or Kapalabhati breathing. And this actually, if you are on the heavy part of your period, if you have high blood pressure, or if you are prone to vertigo, do not do this breathing practice. You can just sit here, just breathe deeply, inhale and exhale. That is a beautiful practice too. But if we're going to do breath of fire, if you want to do that, I'm going to explain how to do that. I know some of you do Kundalini yoga, so you probably already know, but I know there's many that probably this is new to them. So breath of fire is really active exhale and inhale. So sometimes you hear that it's an active exhale, passive inhale, but they both should be of equal duration, of equal breath. Now, the way we can start doing this is first I want you to stick out your tongue and start panting like you're a dog. I know, sounds silly, but stick out your tongue, start panting like you're a dog. Maybe place your hand in your belly. You can see that as you exhale, your belly is going to go in, that navel is going to kind of go in and up. Now, you're going to keep that panting, but close your mouth and do it through your nose. So it's we're going to do that just for about a minute. Like eventually we'll work our way up to about 3 minutes. I'm just going to put my little clock up here to time us. Now, if this is new to you, it's going to feel really awkward. And it felt awkward for me as well too. It takes time, but it's a really great breath. It builds lung capacity. It's energizing. It decreases anxiety. It helps to activate our parasympathetic nervous system. That's our rest and digest. So it's a really great tool to have in your practices. It really helps to raise your consciousness. Like you'll feel lighter, you'll feel a sense of clarity. So stick with it, even if you're like this time just feels kind of awkward. It does for everyone. It takes a little while to get used to, but I'm here to introduce you to new tools and to also challenge you and inspire you. So you can rest your hands right on your legs, and again, it's active exhale, but it's equal duration inhale. So let's just start just by panting again, just to make sure everybody has that kind of down. So it's and then we'll close our mouth and we'll do it through our nose. So you take an inhale and we will begin. And as the exhale, you're pulling in that lower navel. So it's going in and up. And there's a little bit of a root lock too. So that's your sex organs pelvis, or there's a little bit of contraction there. You can keep your eyes closed, bringing your closed eye gaze right to forehead center. You can go as fast or slow as you need, but equal duration, equal exhale, equal inhale. Pause, take a break when you need. And pause, take a deep inhale, suspend the breath, engage the sex organs, the mula band, bring in the navel. And then exhale, release. How did that feel? So that was breath of fire. We will start, if you continue to practice me, we'll be doing more of that. We'll extend the process for a little bit, but that's definitely a great one to have in your toolkit and to practice. Now, the next one that I wanted to do is Kirtan Kriya, and that's a meditation. And it's a beautiful meditation. It includes mantra and mudra. So we're going to chant as we do this. So it's sa, so thumb to index finger, ta, thumb to middle finger, na, thumb to index finger, ma, sa, ta, na, ma. So thumb, and then we're going to chant that. Really, we should be chanting it for 11 minutes, but we're just going to do 3 minutes just so you can start to get the feeling for it. So sa, ta, na, ma. And this has actually been proven to really be able, it increases brain cognitive function. They actually say it reduces Alzheimer's, but it also brings a sense of clarity, a sense of peace as well too. And it enhances our self-esteem and self-worth. So we're going to do that for about 3 minutes. So again, sa, thumb to index, ta, these are seed, bija, mantra syllables, to middle, ring finger, and then pinky. So take a deep inhale here. Satanama, 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 Release the mantra and rest. Bringing your focus to your third eye and breathe. Just resting in the energy you've created. And you bring your hands to heart center. And we'll end this part of our practice with a long sat, short nam. Sat nam. Sat nam. Okay, beautiful woman. I'm going to come back over and come talk to you folks over there. I hope you enjoyed that practice. you can let me know if you have any questions, because now I can see the chat. Grab my chair. Melissa, you loved it. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I really feel like, and that's what I wanted to talk about actually now is yoga as a technology as far as how it becomes our highest self. And feel free, you can put your the videos on if you would like. You don't have to, but if you're here and you would like to, you can put the videos on. So I think often, especially maybe in our culture, we can think of yoga as a way to get in shape, as something that Tammy, you needed this. Great, thank you. We think of it as a very physical practice, and it is physical, and definitely the yoga that I teach is pretty physical. And we can get our defined arms, and we can get strong, and that's really great, and we want all of that. But yoga is also has was created as a way for us to connect to the divine. So yoga means to yoke, or it's the union. It's how do we merge with the divine. So yoga and meditation was really a spiritual path where it was like that's how people would either get self-actualized, awaken, however you want to call it. I like to call it becoming the best versions of ourselves. So it's reconnecting body, mind, and spirit. So we feel more at ease. And then Connie, you feel so much better. Wonderful. So yeah, and it does. We always feel better after a yoga class. And I think that's interesting. Even if we go to yoga, and a lot of us were probably drawn to it. I think I probably was as well, because we wanted the physical benefits. Maybe we wanted what we thought it could do to our body. But unlike other exercises, maybe some exercises do it. Once when we leave a yoga class, we really feel we feel incredible. We feel lighter. We feel like we have a new perspective. Maybe the things that you brought onto the mat, things that weren't going well in your life, everything seems a little bit more doable, right? Like I always like to think our mat is almost like a training ground for what we need to deal with in our real life. We remember to breathe when the poses get tough. We know that it's going to end. Everything else passes. We remember to kind of keep the sense of equanimity. Warrior two starts out feeling great, but then it starts to feel a little bit more challenging. But all of these practices, like the yoga, the pranayama, and the meditation, they were really designed so we could connect to the divine, so we could self-actualize, become the best version of ourselves. And that's one part of it. And then there's another part. And it's interesting. So Ayurveda, and I know that many of you know what Ayurveda is, and some of you have already enrolled in my Radiant Goddess program, where we're going to be going more into Ayurveda. Ayurveda is really dealing with like the health of the body through nutrition, self-care, lifestyle practices, and it's considered yoga's sister science. And I think it's interesting because yoga is the spirituality aspect of it, Ayurveda is the health and the body aspect. But I think often we think yoga is the body, the health part of it, because we're getting in shape while we're doing it. But that's the spirit. So yoga was like so we could sit still and meditate for a very long time, and Ayurveda was like, well, we're not going to be able to do yoga and meditate if we feel like crap. Ayurveda is like, how do we care for our body so we can have this lifelong spiritual practice? So they really go hand in hand, right? Like, so we can't do yoga and we can't meditate if we feel like crap, if we're not sleeping well, if we're eating junky foods, if we're not digesting our food, if we have a bad set of practices. So Ayurveda supports yoga, which is that spiritual, like how do I develop this sense of equanimity, the sense of peace? So we need the Ayurveda for the yoga. And alternatively, we need the yoga for Ayurveda too. Like if we just felt good in the physical body, but we didn't have the equanimity, we didn't have the peace of mind, that wouldn't feel good either. So we really need both. So that's why I just love these practices, because they really are tools or technologies that we can start to build and that we can start to cultivate so we can deal with the karma of our lives, whatever that is, whether it's our relationships that we're in, whether it's work, whether it's the bills, whether it's dealing with finances, dealing with health issues. But when we have these practices, when we have this Ayurveda and we have our good self-care practices, we have our daily routine, we're eating right for our mind body type, that's our dosha, and we have that and we feel good, we can do our yoga. We can get strong. We can sit, we can meditate because we have that clarity. We can start to yoke, right? We can start to connect to the divine. So I really wanted to explain that we really need both. And I also wanted to share as well, too, if you are interested in these types of practices and learning more about Ayurveda, I definitely invite you to learn more about the program, Radiant Goddess. Like I said, a few of you have already joined in here, Lisa, Tammy, so thank you, and Jill, who had already left. I'm going to put a link right into the chat where you can learn about that because it is a limited time enrollment. Actually, enrollment closes on Tuesday and we begin on Wednesday. And take a look at that because it's really going to be a beautiful 10-week Ayurveda divine feminine healing journey. But we will also have yoga, meditation, pranayama. So the way that it will work is that there's 10 live lessons on Wednesday evenings, and you can see the whole syllabus, the whole schedule on that link that I just put in the chat about the different areas that we're going to learn. We're going to learn about Ayurveda, like how to care for our bodies. So Ayurveda is really about living in harmony with the seasons, with our life stage, with our cycles, so we can feel good, so we can create that sense of clarity in creating a routine, using herbs to help better manage our health, whether it's digestion, anxiety, or sleep, igniting our sensuality. So really some of the three things that we're going to be focusing on are minimizing belly bloat. And I think as women, we can say we all want to minimize belly bloat, but I also would like to add that it's not just an aesthetic, even though that might be why you are drawn to minimizing belly bloat. But that also shows us, like, how is our digestion? Are we able to digest our food? Are we able to digest Bye, Lisa. We'll see you soon. Are we able to digest our food? Are we able to digest our experiences? Are we eating right for our body type? So our belly bloat actually tells us a lot about how we're living our life. We're going to raise our energy, right? And that actually is two components. Like, do we have energy? Do we wake up out of bed like inspired and excited to start our day? And do we have the energy to play with our kids or grandchildren and to be able to run and do the things we want? And also, do we have good vibrational energy? Like, do we feel good? Are we magnetizing? Are we attracting good things our way? Are we doing our creativity? So really raising our energy has those two components. And it's igniting our sensuality. And I always like to explain this because on the page, I say, like, ignite your sensuality and have better sex if you want. Now, sex is, when I say tap into your inner sex goddess, that doesn't mean that you have to go out and have a lot of sex. In fact, according to Ayurveda, that actually wouldn't be wise. Ayurveda, sex is an energy. You want to have sex with people who have your best interest at heart. But also, our sex power is also our creative power. It's our Shakti power. That's the enthusiasm that we have for life. So when I say tap into your inner sex goddess, that could just as well be saying, like, tap into your inner creative goddess. But it's feeling that sense of sensuality. It's experiencing the world through our senses, being able to have pleasure and being able to feel a nice breeze on our face or jump in the water. That's living a sensual life, is when we experience the world through our senses. So these are really some of the things that we're going to be really working on and looking at and really understanding how we integrate Ayurveda into our everyday lives. So for the 10 weeks, each week, you will learn an Ayurvedic practice and they build on each other. So it's not like week one, then you're done with that. It's like, okay, week one, and then week two, now you have two practices that you're doing daily. Week three, you have three. You get the point. So by the end of the 10 weeks, you have these like really beautiful lifestyle that's really there to support and inspire you. And in addition to that, as I said, like, yoga is important too, because we need to build our body. We need to meditate. We need to do the breath work. So every week you also get a yoga practice, meditation practice, pranayama practice, and you also get a tutorial. So there's the live lessons, and then there's 4 videos that you get. So it's a very holistic, all-encompassing program. So I wanted to share that with you. So if you liked this class, if you like learning more about Ayurveda and how Ayurveda and yoga work together really to help you become the best version of yourself. And that's the bigger picture. It's like, we can do things for our health, we can do things for our body, and we want to look good and we want to be strong. But ultimately, we want to live a really amazing life. We want to have the confidence to make hard decisions. We want to have equanimity for the inevitable ups and downs that we will all surely face. And that's what these practices are. That's what give us both the inner and the external strength. So I definitely wanted to share that with you. You can take a look at that, and please let me know if you have any questions at all about the program or really about anything else. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Melissa, the live lessons are 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and they are all recorded as well too. Yeah, definitely take a look at it. It's gonna this is the first time that I'm actually running the program. I do have another program that's more spirituality and mindset based. This is the first time I'm running this, which is really combining like a lot of the physical, the health, the nutrition, the things that we're really like looking for with the spirituality. So I'm offering at a very good price as well now too. Since this is the first time that I am offering it, this will be the best price as well. You're welcome for you. I hope I said your name correctly. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, then, all right, beautiful women. Thank you for coming to practice with me today. And I hope to connect with you soon. If you have any questions after that you come up with, either about the practice or about Radiant Goddess, please let me know and I will get back to you right away. Great. Satnam, Yvonne. I'm glad you feel invigorated. Glad you loved it, Amy. You're welcome, Leslie. Okay, I will see you soon.